Hey everyone, welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews. I want to wish you all a happy holiday. Thanks for tuning into my magic review channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a requested magic review. I'm going to be taking a look at Justin Miller's Bulletproof Sleeving. Now, this was a sleeving project that was put out with Ellusionist, and for $35, you're going to get 2.5 hours of video instruction by Justin Miller himself, where Brad Christian looks like he's the one who's holding the camera. Most of this is shot inside of a house. It looks like it's shot in a kitchen or in a hallway, and I suspect that that's probably Brad Christian's house. Although part of it is shot, looks like it's in Justin Miller's room by himself as well. It's narrated throughout by Justin Miller, and Brad Christian asks him questions. I will tell you guys that this is expert level sleeving, and that Justin Miller himself doesn't really teach you a lot of the actual technique of sleeving. This is more like an extension from his Silver Dream DVD. If you have his Silver Dream DVD, then you would have learned the very small nuances of the technique that he uses for sleeving. This project is more like an extension of that, where you're going to learn a lot of routines of his that he came up with that use sleeving, with everything from coins to Sharpie pens to rings. And Brad Christian constantly asks him questions. I will tell you guys that about 70% of the video is very valuable stuff you're going to learn, the routines and the tips, and about 30% is just bullshit. It's just Justin Miller kind of ranting and raving about stuff. He says some stuff that's just completely crazy. And I'm actually going to quote something here he says, because he constantly mentions how he invented this or that when he was 11 years old. So at one point in the video, he actually says, and I quote, "I was 11 years old when I came up with this." And then Brad Christian's immediate response was, "Do you say that about everything?" So when the producer of the product says that on camera, then that's really not a good sign overall. But that aside, I thought that the project was really good. You're really getting your money's worth because you're going to learn a lot of routines. Now, I will tell you guys that the ad copy from Ellusionist is pretty misleading overall. And I'm going to mention just very briefly here the stuff in the ad copy that's really just off, so you're aware of that. So they actually advertise here that they followed Justin Miller around the streets of Las Vegas for 4 days, capturing countless performances. Well, if they did not include it here. So you're not going to see any of those. Justin Miller does perform all of the routines that he shows you, but he just performs them for the camera and for Brad Christian. They also say here that that you're going to learn 12 of his own unique routines. Well, the reality is you're not going to really learn 12 full routines. You're going to learn about 8 full routines, and the rest of what you're going to learn is like bits and pieces, little tiny segments and things like that. Like for instance, you're going to learn how to muscle pass a coin into your sleeve. You're going to learn how to go from flip sticks directly into a sleeve. Stuff like that's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn his like one-handed Sharpie vanish. So it's not like there's really 12 unique routines. That's not true. There's actually about 8. And so other than that, I'll tell you guys that just getting through the video is what's probably the toughest, because you have to really put up with a lot of just the on and on and on that he goes on about sleeving and his own ideas, and he just goes off into tangents. The whole project overall is very disorganized. I hate to say that. I mean, when you look at Silver Dream and that video, and you look at how it was made compared to this, I mean, it's so different. It looks like this was just thrown together really quickly. That aside, the routines he goes over, I've seen him advertise many of these routines that he used to sell them individually on his own personal website, and you're going to get them all here as part of this project. I will tell you guys, I think it's definitely worth the money. So the one move that I think you guys are really going to like a lot is the one-handed Sharpie vanish, and obviously it's because you can use it anytime, anywhere in your magic. You have somebody sign a playing card, you take back the Sharpie, you mention to them, "Hey, I guess we don't need this anymore." Whatever pattern you want to use, you just get rid of it. It's just gone, just like that. So I think it's really a good move. For me, that's my favorite move on there. So I think you're definitely going to like that a lot. So I'm going to briefly go over my favorite routines on this set, and then after that, just kind of give you an idea of what else you can expect here. So my favorite routine on there, hands down, was coin through hand. I thought that was absolutely the best routine on there. It's super visual. It looks crazy impossible, and it's a two-phase routine where you penetrate a coin through your hand and then you immediately repeat it and you end totally clean. I mean, it is incredible. And in Justin Miller's hands, it looks very impressive. So that's something that, for me personally, that was my favorite routine on here. I think that you guys will really like that one a lot. My second routine on here that I thought was really good was called Colorblind. And that was a very creative two Sharpie transposition type effect where he uses a black Sharpie and a blue Sharpie and they switch places over and over. Three-phase routine between his hands and the spectator's hands. And the best part is that the end is a kicker ending because of the structure of the routine. When it ends, it looks like, he says, we're gonna switch the pens, and it looks like you really didn't do anything, but when they take the caps off, the actual individual pens have switched, that they're different colors than the caps. I thought it was very, very creative, very well thought out. I will tell you guys this, unfortunately, the patter for all of these routines is very abysmal overall. And the main reason for that is because his patter for most of these routines is, do you know what this is? What's this? So the patter is just very weak, but if you can look past that, the actual routines are really good and they're structured well. You can tell that he spends a lot of time thinking about magic because he talks a lot about what looks natural and what doesn't. He critiques other moves that he sees people do that don't look natural. So, I mean, obviously he has definitely put his time into the structuring and coming up with these routines overall. So that was my second favorite routine on there. And then the other routine I really liked a lot was I really liked his copper silver routine, which was called Sacagawea. And the reason why is because he used a Sacagawea coin because he's using quarter-size coins. Now, I will actually recommend to you guys, if you want to do the copper silver routine with quarter-size coins, then there are some other options that you have. Like, for instance, you can get a British halfpenny, which is just about the size of a quarter. And some other options that you could have if you're interested. I'm going to show you guys. Some other options are you can also use a French 20 centime piece, which is exactly the same size as a quarter. They're exactly the same size. And this is more like a gold coin. In fact, I've got like a copper silver one. Where is my copper silver one? I've actually got a copper silver quarter 20 centime piece. And the reason is because they're exactly the same size. I actually had this custom made. So this is an option you may have if you want to do the copper silver routine that he goes over because he uses quarter size coins. And the nice thing about his copper silver routine is that the routine starts out with the first phase is kind of like a guess which one is in my hand kind of effect. And then the second phase is you give the coins to the spectator and you have them bring one out and you tell them without fail what it is for sure. And then the third phase is that you do a transposition into their hand, but when they open their hand, now the coin they're expecting to be there is actually the other coin, and in your hand, in that exact moment, the coin they just saw has changed into the other coin. So it's extremely well thought out and clever routining of a copper silver routine. I thought it was very unique, especially because you don't see this type of copper silver routine in general out there. I've never seen a copper silver routine that was structured in this way. This is very unique, so I really liked it a lot. Some of the other routines that you're going to learn on there, I'm just going to briefly mention them. I mean, they're not, to me personally, they're not ones that I would personally really spend time trying to learn, but I'm just going to mention them to you guys so you're aware of them and what they are. And they are the following. There is a coins to glass routine. It's like a 3 coins to glass routine, and that's another 3-phase routine. Some people might like that. Personally, I wouldn't use it. There's a ring and Sharpie routine, which I personally didn't like that because I don't want to drop somebody's ring. I don't want to try to sleeve somebody's ring and break it. So that's another one that I wouldn't do. There's another one that's called Brothers United. Basically, it's a 3/4 coin across routine. Now, there's so many coins across routines, I'm kind of numb to them. I do know that he did actually put out that routine, Brothers United. He put that out on another project that he actually called Silver Dreams with an S. And that included the original Silver Dream with some variations. And he also put that on that project. It was called Brothers United. So it's just coins across with 3/4. You know, it just uses sleeving. There's no gimmicks, of course. So you guys might like that one. And then he does go over an alternative ending to Silver Dream on here. So if you have Silver Dream, you might like that. He also does a cards across routine, which personally, I wouldn't use that because I wouldn't try to sleeve cards. I don't need to. I could just palm cards. I don't think you really need to sleeve cards, but he does go over that there. So taken as a whole, I thought this was a really good project. I'm going to tell you guys this, that if you are into sleeving and you already know how to sleeve, then I think you'll get a lot out of this because you'll like the routines a lot. And all the routines rely heavily on sleeving. This is all expert level material. If you're not comfortable with sleeving things all the time, then you're not going to like this at all. And if you're trying to learn the basics of sleeving, you're not going to learn that here either. So you're going to be very discouraged if you try to pick this up for that. If instead you're looking for some more advanced routines that involve sleight of hand and sleeving, then you're really going to like this a lot. And as you watch it, you'll see Justin Miller is very good at sleeving. And in his hands, all of these routines look really good for the most part. So it's kind of funny because you'll see that Brad Christian doesn't ever try to get involved in any of this. You don't see him do anything. All he does is hold the camera. So that's what I think about this project overall. I know that there's a lot of people that say negative things about Justin Miller, mostly because he's a little bit eccentric. And I know he's put out some weird rants on YouTube in the past and stuff, but I mean, that aside, I don't care about him as a person. I only care about the magic. And I'm going to tell you guys that he really brought it in this project because there's some really good routines here. The other thing is that there is no patter. So you just have to come up with the patter yourself. So don't expect that there's going to be any patter at all. But definitely, I think it's well worth the investment. So I wouldn't hesitate to give this 4 out of 5 stars. And I hope that this review was useful to you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. See you guys on the next review.